Welcome to The Desert Scene with Bonnie G from the Mutual Broadcasting System, where we explore the vibrant world of arts, culture, and entertainment in the desert. Join us as we uncover the hidden gems and shining stars that make this arid landscape burst with creativity. Brought to you by El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City, where authentic cuisine meets affordable prices. Diving into the desert oasis of talent and inspiration, here's Bonnie.
And welcome to the Desert Scene. So happy that you're with us. And very happy to welcome to the show Gary Phillips, who's a prolific author, likes a lot of crime novels and some really interesting stuff. And he's got a new book out. Hi, Gary. How are you?
I'm fine, Bonnie. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So this new book is called Ash, Dark as Night. I love that title. And I just want to there's a little blurb here. It's in the follow-up to One Shot Harry. Fearless crime photographer and occasional private eye Harry Ingram finds himself in the LAPD's crosshairs after capturing damning evidence of police brutality. And right there, that setup sounds very interesting. So tell us how you got involved in this kind of writing. What led you to the crime novel genre?
Oh, I think ever since I was a kid, I read a lot of different material, from comic books to, I suppose, the stuff that you read in high school, from Huck Finn and what have you. And somehow or another stumbled, I suppose, on the paperback rack, these reprints of Dashiell Hammett, who wrote the Maltese Falcon, and Raymond Chandler, of course, who created Philip Marlowe, and so on. And that kind of subject matter and the way those guys, men and women, wrote those stories just captivated me. And so somewhere along the line, I was going to try my hand at writing my own books, and that's how it kind of all started.
Mm-hmm. So did you know from very young that writing was going to be your career?
No, not really. I think like a lot of writers, I did a lot of different things. I was a printer, and I was a union organizer, and I've had blue collar jobs and what have you. And but I always was a fan of hard boiled and noir stories. And somewhere, I suppose, I finally figured out, well, you know what? I like these stories so much, but I've had these different experiences. I probably could bring some of that to bear on the page, and that's when I finally decided all those years ago to try my hand at doing my own books.
Now, I know I've heard stories from people, authors, when the first time out, one of the things you have to deal with as a writer is rejection letters. Did you get a lot of those the first time out before you finally hit on the right publisher?
Oh, absolutely. My first effort at my first time I actually finished a novel. I mean, it had fits and starts before, but when I actually finished a novel, and then at the time, actually, I had an agent, oddly enough, kind of a film, more for film and TV, since I'm here in the land of Hollywood. But it was sent. That book was sent around and couldn't get any traction. And longer story short, I never gave up. I mean, even though the book was rejected, I thought that I could still tell a story. I thought that I still had things to say on the page. And as it happened, when the events of '92 happened here in L.A., I mean, Ash is set in '65. It's set the first riot in L.A. in '65. But my real first book published was Violent Spring, and that was set in the aftermath of '92. And again, because I had been working at a foundation as their outreach director of funding community organizing, I knew a lot of folks on the grassroots level, and I knew a lot of people also working to better conditions on the policy level. And I thought, knowing those kind of spheres of influence and existence in Los Angeles, I thought I could take that knowledge and use it as a basis of a mystery.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're studying up on you. So do you do short stories and comics in between some of the other novels you have over the years?
Yes, I do short stories and comics, and I've worked a little in television as well. And to me, whatever the platform is that I'm writing for, obviously there are adjustments you have to make. You don't write a a TV script is not written the same way you would write a prose novel.
Right.
But in the end, it is about characters. It is about relationships. It is about keeping the plot in motion and trying to bring that all together. So the idea that there are certain basics that you always apply, whether you're writing a short story, although a short story, of course, is you don't have a lot of time for subplots. It's just the plot, and you're telling that story. But and then comic books or again TV or the long form, the novel, there are different ways you have to adapt yourself in the writing, but there's also certain things that are constant across those different platforms.
We're talking with author Gary Phillips, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Craving a delicious meal that won't break the bank? Look no further than El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City. At El Portal, we pride ourselves on offering family-friendly dining with affordable prices on our authentic Mexican cuisine. Owner Victor Lupercio and his dedicated staff make you feel like part of the family. Whether you choose to dine in, take out, or opt for delivery, you can always count on fresh, mouth-watering dishes that will transport you to the heart of Mexico. Enjoy discounts throughout the week and explore one of the Valley's best selections of tequila to complement your meal. Join us for live entertainment on Friday evenings and consider El Portal for your next special occasion with our catering services. Visit eatatelportal.com for more details and discover why El Portal Mexican Restaurant has become a culinary gem in the desert. El Portal, located 1 block south of Ramon on De Palm and Via Olivera.
We're back with author Gary Phillips, whose new book is called Ash, Dark as Night. I Googled you, and I have 2 different numbers here. One of them said 179 books. Is that accurate? Have you written that many books?
No, that's not. I don't know who. I don't know what Gary Phillips that is, but I'm envious. But no, that is definitely not accurate.
Okay,
it's more like 20. It's more like 25 books.
Okay, I was going to say, man, he writes all the time. I like to ask. Yeah. I always like to ask writers about your process. Are you one of those people who says, "All right, it's Tuesday, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write from 10 to 1, then take a break and come back and write from 3 to 5," or do you just kind of wake up at 3 in the morning and say, "I'm going to write right now"?
No, my process is, I think, consistent, but somewhat limited in the sense that when I get up in the morning and start writing, I, like on a book, I usually try to just make my count for the day. So usually that means about 1,200 words a day, which roughly is 5 double-spaced pages in Times Roman 12 point. Mm-hmm. And if I do that, and then usually on the weekends, if I do that 5 days a week, and then on the weekends I will do some editing and recutting and rearranging. But so that is to say, so maybe that the words flow like magic on a given day, and it's only 3 to 4 hours to write, or maybe the words are everything is like chiseled in stone, and it may take me 8 hours a day to get to that count. But once I get to the count, then I'm usually satisfied, and then I go do something else or other things, and then come back to it again the next day, the next morning. Mm-hmm.
And now you're an LA native, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And so basically all your crime novels, when you're dealing especially with Harry Ingram, that's all set in LA as well?
No, not all of them. The Harry Ingram books are set in LA because it's going back in time. Those are more, I suppose, historical mystery novels in the sense that they're set in Los Angeles of the 1960s. The first book, One Shot Harry, takes place in 63. Now this book, Ash, Dark as Night, takes place in 65. So yes, so in that regard, the Harry novels, the Harry Ingram novels are very much L.A., but other novels of mine have gone or been set in other parts of the country or other parts of the world. I've written some science fiction as well. So it's not always L.A., but invariably, of course, I guess being a native and having lived here all this time and seeing the changes, I invariably then wind my way back here one way or the other.
Do you have, do you think writing's in your blood? Do you have other folks in your family who write well, or it's just a gift that you were born with?
Yeah, there actually do have some cousins and others who write mostly in the nonfiction realm. And it is, and I can tell you this, Bonnie, it is no gift. It has been a lot of woodshedding and a lot of, the great thing about writing is that the good Lord invented rewriting. So whatever it is that I put on the page or the what I've accomplished in, say, a week's time or a month's time, invariably as I go back into it, things get cut, things get rearranged, or things get rewritten, because that's just the nature of the beast.
Right. So there's one blurb I loved. Somebody was talking about you and it says, writes fictional stories of chicanery and malfeasance. I love that. I think those two words are just so fun. So do you have a lot of do you have like 3 or 4 stories, plots sort of percolating in your brain at all times?
Yes. I'm working on a new book now, which is not a Harry book. It's a heist novel, and it's set in modern day. Although it's still set in L.A., it's still in modern day times. And then I'm going to get back to the next Harry book, and then I've got some other couple other projects in the fire. So yeah, invariably I have notes or I have outlines in my somewhat haphazard filing fashion here on top of my desk, and at any given time. Like, for instance, the book I'm working on now, I'm almost toward the end of it, and I also know right behind it I have a short story to write, but the short story is going to be a completely different kind of subject matter. Mm-hmm. So, yes, invariably there's always little plot points or always little characters that are somewhere compartmentalized in parts of my brain. But, again, as I said, I also make a lot of notes so that I kind of keep track of what I'm doing when and when do I need to get to it.
Okay. Well, Gary Phillips is going to be, by the way, at Best Bookstore in Palm Springs, Wednesday, May 1st, 5:30 p.m. in conversation with Corey Roskin, discussing his new book, Ash, Dark as Night. I'm a big reader. I might have to go get this one. And I love crime novels. So.
Good. Well, thank you, Bunny.
Thank you so much, Gary, for being here today, and continued success with all your great writing out there.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Take care. And we'll see the rest of you the next time on The Desert Scene.
The Desert Scene is a production of the Mutual Broadcasting System and is sponsored by El Portal Mexican Restaurant. Eat at elportal.com.